You having a good time? We're gonna have a real good time. My name is Terricloth, and this is the Inferno Friendship Society!
Circus cabaret madness. Confetti. People in their best dress clothes, covered in sweat.
It takes a certain kind of crazy to be into World Inferno.
World Inferno is about the world the way you wish it was, sort of capturing that moment and preserving it.
I think that's part of it, this kind of sense that there's something going on here that's bigger than just a band. Obviously, there is.
The person that got me into them, she was like, going to their first show, whatever, changes people's lives. And I was like, yeah, whatever. People say that about a lot of things. And then I saw them a few times, and it did completely change my life.
I've been going to shows for the past 7 years, every single New York show. This is essentially my life. Nothing else going for me.
And I've canceled family vacations, I've canceled family gatherings since I had to work with World Inferno, and I have no regrets about that whatsoever. I mean, these people are my friends and my family.
I guess it's also probably worth mentioning that like a lot of the kids that come to the shows regularly, like they're called Infernites.
There's a cult.
There is
definitely a cult.
They will be here tonight.
How did it come about? Well, it wasn't this band called Sticks and Stones.
1, 2, 3, all these things I see on the
We didn't do so well, and it kind of made us angry, so I decided I needed a new approach to actually have fun.
Good. Ready, Mr. Chesky? I guess we'll try the usual one.
And I knew Jack from Sticks and Stones. Back then he was PV. When I was a little young at the time, I was like 16 or something. So, I had to be, kind of like assertive about, hey, let me play guitar in your band. As soon as they started recording Bridgewater Astral League, and that was when they brought in like me and Benji, and that was about when Semra came into, that was over 10 years ago now. And what a long, crazy ride it's been.
There's a nice vibe on stage. I feel good about it.
Hey. No, I like Fiends After Movie, right? Is that what you said?
I think that's what I said.
That's what you said.
Younger Meavy, Fiend, Grudges, Velocity. Yeah. It is a nice venue. Shame it's going to be destroyed.
The one and only Village voice ad I ever answered in 1997 was for, it read as follows: Insane Punk Circus seeks bass clarinet. And I thought, if I only ever answer one Village voice ad, it's going to be this one.
The music is unclassifiable. There's no way you could put this in a certain genre. I've heard everything: show tunes, cabaret, circus orchestra.
Swing, ska, klezmer, conga.
Polka, cabaret, punk, I guess that's a good...
I continued punk rocking, but not with the punk rock music. So somebody said, I've heard this Kurt Weill record. Do you know the Three Penny Opera? Totally political, totally fast. You should look into some circus music.
When I first started playing with the band, I thought to myself, well, what am I going to wear? Everybody looks good and everything like that. So I asked Jack, and I said, what would you like me to wear on stage, if anything? And he said, every show we play is a special occasion, so I would like you to dress as though it's a special occasion.
That was the one. That was it? Thank you.
I mean, the first show I went to, I showed up in just, jeans and a t-shirt,
and half the crowd was in suits, nice suits. The girls were all in dresses. Guys had like face paint on. I was going, did I miss a memo? What's going on here?
It's an elite secret insider thing. Other
Yes,
people don't
it really
understand.
just means I'm a pretentious asshole within the Inferno scene.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it means.
Or to most
And me
people,
too.
somebody just trying too hard to be like Jack Terricloth.
We're trying to set the tone of this is a space unto itself with its own rules. At the same time, the things that go on in this autonomous space are of the utmost importance to people's lives. It's a place for saying, I can do whatever I want and know exactly why I'm doing it. I'm with people who understand and people who are all crazy, weird loners as well, but that we can all come together and have this sort of experience that makes us feel like we have a place in the world.
How the hell you doing tonight? We're gonna have a damn good time together, I promise you that. Back in the hell yeah!
In the first song, Jack often sings and he does this thing with his hand, and so everybody in the crowd started doing it back to him, and they call it the claw.
The claw. I'm doing Mussolini. Being an Italian American, I'm trying to be tough. Who's the toughest Italian, Mussolini. Yeah, I can do it now. That's just gesturing. But.
Oh, I thought it was holding a wine glass.
Could be.
It's not holding a wine glass? It's Mussolini.
Mussolini all the way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of surprised. I never know what the kids are going to pick up on.
When I first started going, there really weren't any traditions because there were too many of the same people. People would come in and go to a few shows and they'd stop going.
Well, this whole thing wasn't there. At that time, it was like 35 people at Brownies.
First words I think I said, I was just like, wow. They were definitely different from everything else and something you kind of like had to see again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when that got hooked.
Wow, what the fuck was that?
First time I met him, he growled at me. This is back when they still blew fire. And they set the speakers on fire, and Peter Hess had to shake up a beer and put it all out. At that point, I had been going to punk shows for 20 years, and I had never seen anything new until these guys, because of that guy and the gestalt that is Inferno.
They were very intimidating. No one really went up to them. They were scary. They just seemed like very dark and almost evil, but fun. Like it was a big, like crazy party they were having, and there was more going on there than, you realize.
There's gonna come a time, my friends, when we're all gonna die. And what will you have when you die? You'll still have the blood, but it won't do anybody any good. And you'll have all these memories, and the only good the memories will do you is that you're gonna cry and make your friends cry. Blood.
And then you got your world, and then you got your Inferno, and let's be acquainted.
They had all these weird stories.
And if
on
you
their
tried
website.
to ask them straight up, like, is there something going on here? You'd get shifty sideways eyes and a change of the subject.
In the beginning, before there was the internet, the band was very big on spreading lies, and it was really funny because it was actually part of the tradition. It was like you had to You had to solve the mystery. You had to figure out what this song was actually talking about. If there actually was a Bridgewater astral leak, there was. If they could actually astrally project, they could. And like, you couldn't find this out by just asking somebody, because they'd probably lie to you. And that was part of the game.
Something as weird as that concept record that they did, which is, a lot of that shit's true, and it shouldn't be. And a lot of it's not true, and it should be, so, you'll figure it out or not. It's not really anyone's place, but the people that, lived through it to really know what went on.
I don't need to create mysteries.
No.
I point them out. And yes, well, back to inertia. All they do is give a little push to these things, and it takes over people's lives.
Could have asked for. I think when we started all this, we had no idea. We had no idea that we'd be doing anything but pissing people off.
When I lived in Westchester, when I was growing up, and there was, it was difficult to find rides, so I convinced a bus company in Yonkers to rent me a bus. So when all of those kids started coming to shows, I brought all those kids on the bus. I got a lot of flack for like, you changed the scene, man. And I was like, yeah, anybody and everybody who was supposed to come should come.
The world in front of Brooklyn, New York. Friends, ever feel like giving up on it all? Ever feel like just saying, fuck it? Ever feel like, what the hell am I doing in this godforsaken town, in this godforsaken state? Yes! You're not alone, friends, because just like you, I dropped out of the old school.
When you get to a certain point where you decide what you want to do, you look for antecedents to yourself, people who had to make similar choices that you have had to make or do make. The next record is all about Peter Lorre, because he seems a particularly good example, which might not speak well for us.
Doch. Ja, manchmal ist mir.
The historical elements of the songs, or choosing to sing about Paul Robeson or Jeffrey Lee or Peter Lorre, that's all kind of giving us some lives and ways of living to consider.
If you look at Paul Robeson's life, he was someone who really stuck up for what he believed in, and even though it cost him his career, he never backed down.
If there's one word, and I agree that this is not unique, defiance. It's defiance. Defiance in the name of intelligence and informed intelligence.
They are a punk band, in my opinion. They're a punk band, but not in the music sense, in just the sense of the word punk, about not letting yourself being told what to do.
Let me make this as brief as I possibly can. I got something to say, and I'm going to say it clearly and slowly so everybody here understands. Friends, there's a message in this song, and the message is, fuck the police!
What World Inferno, the sort of ethos and the spirit that it espouses is just being true to yourself and standing up for what you believe in. And that is sort of a nice way to wish the world was, because it's not really like that. obviously. So people always have to sort of bend and like give in to certain things. And World Inferno saying, what if you didn't do that? What if you just did this?
This next song is a sad number. It's a sad song about your parents finally realizing that you're not the child they always wanted. It's about the day you don't come home when they get that phone call on their answering machine saying, Mrs. Cloth, Mrs. T. Cloth, we've got your son down here at the station. If you could come bail him out. This is what happens when you pick up a telephone and you say, I shot President Reagan, and I'm gonna do it again and again and again and again.
When I was in high school, I actually did threaten to kill President Reagan over the telephone, and was arrested by the Secret Service for it. It was funny at the time.
I mean, you know, these are true stories, and it gives you something to live by, someone to look up to. You know, and I don't know if Jack Terricloth wants to be an idol, but he is.
I think he has an undeniable charisma, so it, you know, it sucked us in for 10 years of no, you know, being broke. So I think other people also have enjoyed it too.
Fellas, too much testosterone's bad for the skin. Just look at me.
Big fan of Jack. He's one of my heroes.
He's such a good person to look up to, you know? You see him and you hear his stories and his tales, and you're like, you know what? That's what life is all about right there, you know? That's what life is all about.
If you hang out with people who, you know, who take a lot of risks, who do a lot of crazy things, you know, who break things or whatever, you know, you're gonna kind of try to emulate them, because I think everybody wants to fit in to a certain extent, you know?
You came into the club tonight and said, what a beautiful, beautiful building. It's such a goddamn shame.
The lyrics have this, it's nothing I could really pin down too much, but they have this sense of, we're going to break everything and it's going to be okay. And there's this joy in destruction. And it's a freedom because there's joy in destruction, because you can break everything. You don't have to put too much hope or faith or trust in anything, because there will always be something else.
Everybody okay? Is everybody having a good time? Is there anything you want addressed?
Well, Inferno doesn't sound like any other band, and doesn't act like any other band, and doesn't fit in with any other band. But they fit in everywhere. Over the last decade of just playing everywhere and anywhere, they've created a scene of, they went to each little scene and grabbed a few kids with them, and kind of like created this weird mix of, wacky kids, and kids not being a age-defining term, more of a spirit-defining term,
Once they redid the website and the message board got on, it really kind of helped bring a community aspect to it all. I mean, it kind of helped people communicate after a show, like right after. The next day they could say then after a while they're like, oh, well, let's meet next time. And so they started to meet, and it became much more of a community thing, and it really took off after that. It was kind of amazing to see, like, this little message board would have such a big impact.
That's kind of where the scene converges. That's where people actually get to know each other more. So, if you're on the board, we know you. If you're not, then we don't.
I mean, it's part of the mantra, and I think people are into it, and they just hang out and talk to each other. And the whole scene is like, if you're a woman or a man or a girl or a baby or whatever the hell you are, come and hang out here, and that's more the merrier.
Everybody was kind of commenting how this is the first Inferno baby, the first Inferno spawned baby, because we're the first people to meet at an Inferno show and actually,
She went to a lot of shows in utero.
And we used to joke with all the new kids on the message board and all the new kids at the show and say, our daughter who hasn't been born yet has been to more shows than you. And it was actually true.
David Bilmas had put on the show in Purchase, New York. We both knew him. We started talking.
That's how we started talking and met.
This October, we're getting married.
That's the short version.
That's the short version of it all.
I was always different and weird, but I didn't have any kind of outlet for it on the scale of what the World Inferno is for kids. And this is the place where they are free and are themselves, or are some totally made-up version of themselves that they find to be more real than the way they've been living most of the time.
The big holiday y'all have. What do you do on this holiday? You put a tree in your house. No one asks the obvious questions. Why the hell is there a tree in your house? I'm here to tell you. Because you worship a plant. And that's why I like you. Because I worship a plant as well. Friends, you worship a tree. It's a short jump till the Great Pumpkin. The Great Pumpkin. The Great Pumpkin. This Jackson Ercin was a place of honor. Say pumpkin, 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 pumpkin.
The Great Pumpkin. It originates from, like you said, a Charlie Brown thing, and it turned into a spiritual Halloween celebration of almost like we're giving honor to the Great Pumpkin.
And we would every Halloween.
Yeah, and so now that's what Halloween is about, being in the pumpkin patch.
Thank you for coming out! The most important night of the year! We're so honored tonight to be the band that plays the Devil's Ball! Back to hell where we belong! Let's dance and sing and burn! Because tonight is the Devil's Ball! And your parents haven't taken away. This is the only holiday for children candy and behaving badly. What would we do?
The burning effigy of Jack on top of a car outside the Good Bad Art Collective in 1999 was pretty exciting.
Oh no, you're talking about 2001 where we burnt everything down. Right, check. I'm sorry. That's when we got kicked out of the Good Bad Art Collective. But why?
The climax of the show, a few years, I think they did it but at the end of the show, they would just raise up the garage door, which was like one half of the whole wall of the place, and then everybody would pour out into the street.
Jack climbed on top of a car and lit an effigy on fire.
Anything good
Police and the authorities showed up, and yet no one got hurt, and no one got arrested. Everyone thought it was cool. Even the police were like, "Wow, it looks great." And, I hate to agree with the police, and I was like, "Yeah, it really does."
And it was just amazing. It was such a like a primal, sort of tribal ritual feeling.
The pumpkin,
so much adrenaline,
that was burning with like lighter fluid and different things, got smashed, and then we were picking it up and taking bites of it, eating it, and passing it along to other people.
But that's the whole thing about these pseudo-religious ceremonies, that a person becomes the thing and the thing gets destroyed. So I'm a cipher. Yeah, and that's why I'm for the kids. Because I'm not me up there. I am the cipher for what they want. So and we burned that.
Will you dance with me? Because I think I'm having a heart attack.
They have 2 waltzes and a tango, and you don't see that at punk shows with stage dives and pits. You should,
It's
but you
intelligent
don't.
punk rock. That's kind of the thing with Inferno.
Which is probably why they'll never make it completely mainstream.
Because they're too smart. It's what makes people famous is being able to cater to the lowest common denominator, and Inferno will never do that.
We were recently approached by Mitsubishi Motors and offered to use one of our songs in their commercials. They figured Well, Inferno's crowd's about turning 17. It's gonna be time for them to buy cars soon. To help out our friends at Mitsubishi, we've written this next number, which we humbly call Every New Car You Buy Makes the Poor Baby Jesus Cry.
A lot of bands are just kind of singing about what they feel like they should be singing about, but not really enacting it into their own lives. And to me, you know, I feel like life is your own piece of art, you know?
World Inferno cost me many jobs, and it made me broke and with terrible credit and homeless. And I still love it. I don't know why. That's part of the deal.
I'm the same kid. I'm just 20 years older. And they can be 20 years older and still be doing whatever the hell they want to do.
Somehow this group of people, like, for whatever reason, we're still doing this. We're still playing shows, you know, whatever, crashing on floors, like on tour half the year. Like, somehow, I don't know, we've all figured out, like, this is what we want to do and this is our life and this is what we want to be doing. And that is kind of nice about it.
It's a bit of a circus, yeah.
If you're looking for someone to tell you it's okay, or you're looking for someone to hold up a beacon or a flaming torch or some flaming 140 proof alcohol or whatever it is and kind of light the way for you, that's a way that this band has affected my life, in that they kind of showed me that it's possible, or maybe it's impossible, but it can still be done.
World Inferno is about believing in something, and that's why you get the rap of being a cult all the time. And maybe it's a little bit of looking back and taking yourself too seriously, but it's hard not to, because it really is that amount of sincerity and is that amount of joy, you know.
We are the World Inferno Friendship Society, your friends from Brooklyn, New York. International Circus comes. Wherever you need us, there will be. It's time for this rest of the show to go on, and for you guys to wave goodbye. Wave goodbye to the circus. Thank you very, very much.
There's a lot of kids who go to shows now that are very young. They're gonna be like us, and as they grow older, they may leave the scene and never come back, but there are always gonna be a core of kids. There's 3 of them right here that will probably always be going to shows.
Means it, and if you don't mean it anymore, you don't show up. I still mean it, and Terricloth will mean it until he dies.
Life doesn't ever have to be dull. Just do something about it.
Sometimes I miss the circus, I know why I ran away. I stepped right out of that song while it played. I lit it like a stage and I gave it like a gift. What I got out of it is this. Suspicious but friendly to your elbow. suspicious to other circuses. You trust your friends and you can't trust your friends. You've already agreed to travel with them. So long to the circus, so long to